All right, everybody, welcome back to a supersized panel of the ACM 10-second interview show. I have ACM Advisor Capital Management's brightest portfolio managers on here. Q2 recap. I have Chuck Lieberman, Portfolio Manager, Chief Investment Officer, Kevin Strauss, David Ruff, Kevin Kelly, Joanne Feeney, Dr. Joanne Feeney, all portfolio managers, all cover different ends of the spectrum. Here are the rules for those of you who do not remember. I ask you a question, you have 10 seconds to answer. If you go too long, we will tell you you are too long. This is a TikTok world. We're a bunch of TikTok portfolio managers. People don't have the attention span, 10 seconds or less. Chuck, I'm coming at you first. Markets seem to have stabilized in a pretty big way. Solid first half of the year for markets. Looking into your crystal ball of the future, how many more times does the Fed raise this year? Well, let me make this a three-part question. Do they raise this year? How many times? And do you see a recession? You have 10 seconds to answer three questions. Let's make this a little harder for you. Go.
No recession. Expect two more rate hikes. The economy is not keeling over, and that's why the market's done well. They were anticipating a recession.
Okay, let me kick it at you real quickly. One more follow-up. Given the strength of markets, is the marketplace effectively saying to the Fed, we can handle more, you can go higher?
Implicitly, the market is saying that, but it's interesting. There's a bifurcated market. The tech stocks have done spectacularly. Everything else has done very little. And so there's plenty of opportunity.
All right, so let me throw that to you, Joanne. Tech stocks have done well. Super 7, as you call them, right? NVIDIA, Microsoft, Alphabet, Tesla, whatever I'm missing here. Whatever the 7 are that have lifted the whole market. Everybody knows that story from time and time, through time at this point. 7 stocks lifting the market. A, is that healthy? And B, do you expect that to expand to other sectors or other companies? 10 seconds, go.
Yeah, so the Super 7 have really taken off. They've really powered the market. The rest of the market is trading on the recession fears, but those are starting to abate. In fact, in the second quarter, we saw some broadening of the market, which is a really good sign in anticipation of the Fed almost being done with those rate hikes that Chuck talked about.
All right, so rate hikes. Kevin Kelly, I come to you. You mentioned in a recent commentary, fixed income investors shouldn't be short-sighted. They shouldn't be too short. Short treasuries, short money market funds. 10 seconds. Why not?
Eventually, inflation will slow down. If the Fed has to keep raising rates to make it slow down and something breaks, or just inflation fixes itself. Eventually, if you're too short, you're going to be exposed to reinvestment risk. The short end looks great, but it won't hold for long.
All right, so reinvestment risk is something you're thinking about. Obviously, good. Obviously, people should be thinking about that. The big, geopolitical event, Dave Ruff, of the first quarter, I think, was probably what happened in Russia. Right? You had this mutiny that was, and then that was not, and whatnot. You said that probably strengthened Vladimir Putin's position in Russia. Walk us through that thought process in just 10 seconds. Take a huge global event and drill it down to 10 seconds. Go.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the move by the Wagner Group leader was unsuccessful. He thought that he was going to get a lot more support than he ended up getting, and so he had to actually negotiate for his safety. So I think that that just indicates Putin's power, and failed coups usually result in a strengthened position by the existing leader, not weakened.
All right, let's circle the square here, right, in our 6-box approach here. Kevin Strauss, I come to you. Growth has outperformed value in the first quarter, second quarter, first part of the year. Do you expect that to continue, or do you think there is some wiggle room here for value to recover, value to outperform?
Yeah, as Joanne said, we've seen a broadening a bit, so it has to do with the Super or the Magnificent Seven. If they slow down a little bit, they're all growth stocks, so we would expect some broadening out in value to start doing a little better as well.
All right, so I think you guys are getting it. Everybody's doing a great job. 10 seconds or less. This is what the listeners want, a 10-second show. Joanne, Chuck, you may do a lot of TV. We're bringing it even faster. Okay, now let's do it. Let me focus on AI, right? And I'll throw it to you, Kevin Strauss. You've got certainly some AI exposure in the portfolios you run. Is it real, right? You've seen it lift a lot of companies. Is it real? What do we expect here going forward?
Yeah, it seems to be that it's going to be a big driver for a long period of time. As you said, we do have a number of companies that have direct exposure, and then there's companies as well with indirect exposure that are going to use AI to be more productive in the future. So we very much think it is going to be a driver going forward.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I'm going to be able to replace all of you guys on this thing. I'm just having AI avatars that will get great. Joanne, you've mentioned AI hub and spokes approach. You mentioned that on television. What does that mean?
Well, it means that at the core of AI is, first of all, making it possible. And to make AI possible, you need really big computers, really big servers, and you need very, very fast and capable chips to make all of those computations happen, which stand behind all of the magic of AI and ChatGPT. And so those are NVIDIA chips. Those are servers built by a host of server makers, and they're installed at the cloud providers like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. So owning those guys gives you lots of exposure to a very long process of the development and deployment of AI.
So that would be like ChatGPT. As I'm writing it in, have Joanne give me an answer that's in 10 seconds or less, and then ChatGPT would have simply wrote back, she didn't do that. Chuck, I'm coming to you as an income portfolio manager. Obviously, AI is not going to be really relevant. That's more of the appreciation side. Second half of the year, do you expect income-oriented securities to continue to raise dividends like we saw take place in 2022? Can that pace of dividend increase continue?
Probably not. Last year was spectacular. 70% increased their dividends, but we're off to a very strong start in 23. So I don't know that we can replicate 22, but I do expect continued strong growth in dividends.
All right, two more questions, then I'm going to bring this home. Kevin Kelly, I'm coming to you. Fixed income side, I know obviously you were attracted to floating rate securities over the past couple years. Are you still looking at floating rate securities given what you think may be the incoming of or the downward move of inflation, that the Fed may be slowing? Are you still finding floating rate securities a place to of attraction?
Yeah, they're more few and far between because you want to lock up that duration, because eventually when rates come down, when inflation gets settled, whether it's calmly through slowdown or abruptly, you don't want to go there. But what we do different is we do look at preferreds that has resets. So those are kind of a flavor of fixed and floating, but those can be still attractive.
Dave Ruff, do you expect the world from an investing environment to get better in the second half of the year, or are there too many wild cards, right? The grain deal has fallen apart. Russia is still doing its thing. Ukraine, we're still giving a ton of weapons. China seems to not be slowing down. 10 seconds or less, take us home. Are you comfortable putting assets to work in a geopolitical environment as volatile as the one we've got?
Right. Well, there's certainly challenges, but that's always the case, right? And I don't know that it's that easy to answer at this point, but I think a large part of it will hinge upon the stimulus and the growth that happens in China. That is so important for the rest of the world, and whether they come through with a little bit more stimulus remains to be seen.
All right, ChatGPT, give me 5 portfolio managers who can answer questions in 10 seconds or less. I think I've got it. Some of them look like they're having a good time. All right, with that, subscribe and like below. We would love to pick up more subscribers, more followers. Stay in touch. Again, like and subscribe below. Also available on our website, advisorscapital.com, under the 10-second video show link. Thank you all for being here. We will do it again with another quarterly wrap-up in probably another quarter. Thanks, everybody.